contain the flu outbreak in Myanmar, Tzu Chi volunteers set up a disaster prevention center locally. An organization helping the disadvantaged in Nepal visits the Tzu Chi Neihu Grounds to learn about the foundation's disaster relief efforts. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Marilee Shoda. Thank you for joining us. While the H1N1 flu epidemic in Myanmar has been temporarily contained, there is still much work to be done. Since the supplies from Taiwan and Malaysia have arrived in the country, Tzu Chi Liaison Office has set up an epidemic prevention coordination center and delivered supplies to remote regions. Staff and volunteers also take safety precautions to prevent catching the virus themselves.
Since the H1N1 flu outbreak occurred, there has been a shortage of masks. When the pharmacy owner learned this was for a good cause, he immediately sold 30,000 masks at a discounted price to Tzu Chi.
It is a good deed to provide assistance when others are in need. Selling the masks at a cheap price is a good deed.
The epidemic prevention supplies from Malaysia and Taiwan have also arrived in Myanmar. The supplies from Malaysia include N95 masks, flu screening kits, gloves, and flu vaccine. The supplies from Taiwan include flu screening kits, Tamiflu, barrier gowns, hand sanitizer, ear thermometers, and instant rice. Tzu Chi Liaison Office has also set up a coordination center to deliver the supplies to remote regions. This hospital in Tai Ki Township is in need of N95 masks.
Since we often come in contact with patients, we desperately need N95 masks. We are grateful that Tzu Chi has given us N95 masks.
The staff and volunteers at Tzu Chi work quickly despite facing the risk of contamination.
The master has told us to work for Buddhism and all living beings. Therefore, I barely face the danger and deliver the masks to the hospitals and students.
As a safety precaution, everyone wears masks and measures body temperatures every day. They must maintain good health in order to deliver the supplies to those in need.
Mr. Lin, who is 55 and living in Shanxi district of New Taipei City, suffers from diabetes, high blood pressure, and other sickness. His living environment is also unclean as it is piled up with garbage and quite dirty. A Tzu Chi volunteer who was investigating new care recipients discovered that Mr. Lin was his junior high school classmate. After the visit, Tzu Chi volunteers agreed to help this man clean up his home.
This old house in Shuangxi has a damaged roof and the whole house is a mess. Tzu Chi volunteers are paying a visit to this care recipient who is suffering from multiple illnesses. One particular volunteer was quite surprised to find that this care recipient is actually his junior high school classmate. Tzu Chi volunteers decided to help clean up this house. Actually, a training course for Tzu Chi volunteers was brought to this location to learn Tzu Chi's spirit of compassion and helping the community.
Master's teaching said that to give us strength, we should do compassionate works and allow those who need our help to slowly become full of love and warmth. This will slowly allow our society to change and become more caring.
When you go down to these areas, you will learn that there's really only one word, thanks. We are very grateful, and we have learned that we have many more resources available to us than these care recipients. This was something that we couldn't see before.
This 90-year-old volunteer is doing her part, working alongside others to clean this kitchen.
60-year-old as well as 40- and 50-year-old people also need help. I am very happy. Elderly people also want to do this work. Though I'm not young, I know how to clean and can sometimes do it better than younger people. I'm good at this, and this is what I like to do.
I just wanted it to live one day at a time. I didn't have any dreams or hope. Today, when I saw all of you helping me, I was quite thankful and grateful for this help.
Now that Mr. Lin has experienced the love and compassion shown to him by his community, he now has a new outlook on life and has hope and compassion.
Also in New Taipei City, in early June, northern Taiwan was hit by heavy rainfall, which damaged many residential homes in Shimen. Among the affected residents is Mr. Xu, who is a recycling volunteer of Tzu Chi. When his home was washed away, he rebuilt it with sheet metal, but did not pave the ground nor built a drainage system. When the volunteers discovered his problem on their visit prior to Typhoon Nisat, they recently mobilized 30-some volunteers to repair his home, giving him a more suitable living situation.
Mr. Shi, who is the recycling volunteer, lives in the valley, which is 300 meters away from the industrial road. Before the volunteers help him repair his home, they have to take turns moving all of these construction materials from the roadside to his home.
He is our recycling volunteer. We came to care for him after his house collapsed during the June 2nd flooding. We came here to check his condition once again before Typhoon Nisat, and we found that he had already built his house here. Because he didn't pave floors nor build a drainage ditch, we took this chance to help him.
To ensure that he has a comfortable environment to live and to help him build a drainage system, 30-some volunteers worked together to complete their task under the heat.
When building the ditch, we thought about cutting bricks, but later we thought it was not a good idea. So we backfilled it and paved it with cement in a slope to allow the water to drain away.
Before completion of the home, volunteers found a second-hand bed frame at a recycling station, which unexpectedly matches the size of Mr. Shi's bedboard.
After we filled it with cement, he could not enter his home at night, so we prepared a bed for him to sleep under this tent. We also prepared some boards as fences.
After a busy morning, the work finally came to an end, meaning that Mr. Shi can finally feel at ease and have a comfortable environment to live.
Moving our focus to central Taichung, Wu Baojiao is a recycling volunteer who lives alone in Tanzi. Whenever it rained, her roof would leak. Because she had mobility problems, she could not easily fix the roof leak on her own. Instead, Tzu Chi volunteers went to help her clear the gutters on her roof so she would not have to suffer from the leaks ever again.
One Tzu Chi volunteer climbs up to the roof because it has many fallen leaves and they have blocked the gutters. Whenever it rains, her home will leak inside. The volunteers decide to trim off the branches.
I'll trim off the branches close to her home and remove the gutters and sheet metal. Then I will wash them and put them back and see if they will leak again.
Wu Baojiao is a recycling volunteer living alone, and her husband lives in a nursing home. Recently, whenever it rains, her home will leak, and she does not know what to do. When other volunteers learn about her worry, they decide to help her.
We feel sorry to her because she lives alone and there are problems with her feet. So we felt that if we could come together and help her, her life would become better.
Whenever it rained, I thought I'd just put up with it until it was over. I didn't know Tzu Chi volunteers could move so quickly, as they came at once to help me solve my problem.
The gutters have all been cleared, so there won't be any more leak inside the house. It makes Wu Baojiao very delighted, and Tzu Chi volunteers caring to her touches her deeply.
On our last in-depth report on the Philippines, we take a look at how Taiwanese invested businesses are changing their corporate image with charity work. Take, for example, the Phil Chai Love and Care Foundation, which was established 5 years ago. It's made up of a large number of Taiwanese businessmen using resources to establish 5 mobile computing centers. These mobile computer classrooms travel to rural communities for the students to learn computer science and earn national computer accreditation.
This factory is a vocational training program where students are working hard to learn real-life skills. This is the Sisters of Mary Junior High School in Cebu, Philippines. The program was founded by the Catholic Church, and most of the children here are underprivileged.
The parents of our children, they earn below 30,000. But most of them, they cannot even earn even 5,000 because most of them, they are just farmer. And so they cannot really they cannot really send their children to school.
Providing all school fees, as well as a requirement that students live in the dormitory, gives these children an opportunity to improve their social status. However, it is still hard to provide these children with the educational resources they need. This is a computer class taught by the school as these children are carefully learning keyboard skills. Taking a closer look, all these computers are donated by Taiwan.
Learning how to use a computer is very difficult because I can only use a computer when I'm here. I need to learn how to use a computer because I want to learn how to type and make corrections.
With many of their parents earning less than $100 a month, it can be quite difficult for these children to get a computer. The Seuss Foundation refurbished second-hand computers and sent them overseas to the Philippines.
Okay, so in this 21st century, computer is very essential in work. So most of the machines now is operated by computer. So the computer is very important in finding job.
In order to find a good job, growing importance is paid upon digital learning. In fact, growth in the economy is leading to increased demand amongst Filipinos for 3C products. Seuss has been in the Philippines for 20 years, and 10 years ago it set up branches to not only sell computers but also smartphones.
The battery. On this phone, it doesn't heat up. It never gets hot. I had the Samsung, I had the iPhone, it heats up.
It is very durable. The battery can be long-lasting. I think this brand is from Taiwan.
Long-lasting, I think it's Taiwan.
Few can believe that made-in-Taiwan products are so popular in the Philippines. This department store has a large floor area with brands from around the world. The competition here is fierce, with Taiwanese businessmen saying that localization and diplomacy are quite important.
Taiwan and the rest of the world have aided these charities by making computers more common and helping poverty in underprivileged countries, helping them close the digital gap with other countries.
This truck is parked at Tarlac City and is an undertaking of the Phil Chi Love and Care Foundation, which is sponsored by Seuss and other overseas Taiwanese businesses. The group donates new computers to this mobile vehicle, which is deployed to rural areas to help people earn computer certification.
I came here from Taiwan 40 years ago as a technical staff, and then later I owned my own business. Of course, we earn money here, but we also want to give back.
Taiwan has always had trouble breaking through diplomatically with other countries, though the use of charity and empathy has led Taiwan to develop a good image.
The APEC Digital Opportunity Center is held by our Ministry of Economy and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They sought me out and worked with our association to support this initiative.
Taiwanese overseas businessmen in the Philippines know that locals have pleasant feelings for them, though they feel unfortunate that such a connection wasn't fully developed, as there is still a big gap in cultural understanding.
I don't think there's any difference between Taiwanese businessman and Filipino businessman here, because basically we are all interconnected with each other. For centuries, we call ourselves Filipino-Chinese, Chinoy.
Making use of these cultural advantages, Taiwan businessmen have been supporting charities to create a solid foundation. These efforts to work with civic groups is paying off, as Taiwan and the Philippines have established more friendly interaction and opportunities for greater exchange.
The real-life story of Dr. Li Senjia has been turned into a drama on DaAi TV called Life's Horizon. Dr. Li moved to Hualien's Yuli to serve patients in remote regions at the age of 65. During the 8 years there, he visited patients for more than 13,000 times. Although he was later diagnosed with cancer and could no longer do house calls, he is still concerned about his patients. The audience can learn more from this dedicated doctor as they watch the latest DaAi drama.
愛記啊，唔當為了錢，愛為心啊。
Dr. Li Senjia, who was a doctor in Kaohsiung's Gangshan, traveled to places to treat patients in remote regions when he was young.
坤伯，你小恁来坐。迄个时阵，我根本就无去想，我刚才想着讲，我是毋是应该安尼做？这毋若是医生的本分，也是一种责任。
At age 65, Dr. Li Senjia moved to Yili with his wife to serve patients in remote regions. In 8 years, he has served patients for more than 13,000 times. After falling ill, Dr. Li Senjia worries not for himself, but for his patients.
I joined outpatient clinic, free clinic, and visited the poor. I will still do them all. I won't run away from my duties.
Due to the after effects of chemotherapy, Dr. Li Senjia can no longer go visit his patients. However, his life story has been turned into a drama, Life's Horizon, on DaAi TV. The audience can watch his life journey as a loving and dedicated doctor and learn from him.
A Nepalese delegation from Bodhisattvas in Action, which helps disadvantaged individuals, recently traveled to Taiwan to visit the Tzu Chi Recycling Education Center in Neihu. The organization was impressed by the elderly volunteers' devotion to recycling and the way they turn recyclables into many useful items.
Upon the BIA delegation's arrival, the volunteers give them a warm welcome, as well as introduce them the environments of Neihu Tzu Chi Grounds.
This is mainly to let everybody know that we should not cut down trees.
Bodhisattvas in Action is a group who established handicrafts academies for disabled people in Nepal and provide timely assistance for emergency situations. Members of this group are impressed by Tzu Chi's recycling ideals.
I feel surprised to know that plastic bottles can be used to produce many things. This means that we can help those in need with Dharma principles along with technological methods.
Tzu Chi carries out their missions with love and the knowledge of Dharma. When they are doing this, I can feel that for many people, the most important thing is to invite everyone to join their ranks through education and the messages from their staff members.
Seeing that these elder volunteers, who are 80-some years old, still devote themselves to recycling, BIA members will feel touched and show their respect.
We can continue this love to accumulate blessings, spread it and pass on it. We can also share this idea with people all around the world and to influence the volunteers of BIA.
Through these visits and cultural exchange, BIA has established the awareness of recycling and environmental protection. They also pledge to practice what they have learned from Tzu Chi and spread it to every corner of the world.
In Taiwan, a gratitude event was recently held to thank all the volunteers who participated in the 3 mountain cleanup activity in New Taipei City's Mount Guanyin. To ensure that the event went off without a hitch, Tzu Chi volunteers put their heart and soul into everything.
This is the gratitude event held to thank those volunteers who joined the Mount Guanyin cleanup. At this occasion, volunteers and the government expressed gratitude to one another. In the early morning and under the heat, many volunteers have already been busy setting up the venue in the parking lot. Of the iron bars they use will be recycled and reused.
We collected some recycled iron bars from a laundry factory. The stage will be in the shape of a trapezoid so that it won't collapse easily.
The volunteers have successfully designed a stable stage, but they still need to solve one problem since it is a parking lot on the hillside.
The ground was uneven. To ensure safety, we sawed off some small wood boards to increase the height and make it more even.
In addition to installing the stage, volunteers also need to plan in advance the routes for vehicles, and personnel save essays to ensure that the event goes smoothly.
The event will be attended by 600-some people. If every 5 people take a car, then there will be nearly 100 cars entering this venue.
To thank Tzu Chi volunteers' dedication, the founder of a team which leads people to carry water up to mountains also prepares tea with the best food ingredients for 500 people.
If we want to pick up all the garbage on the mountain, we will need to spend 7 to 8 years. I admire the cleanup effort of Tzu Chi brothers and sisters.
At his age of 15, Mr. Su experienced the joy of sharing after a person gave him a cup of water to drink on Mount Guanyin. Seeing that the volunteers work together to protect the environment, Su believes that this love will continue to spread throughout this mountainous area.
The musical adaptation of the Sutra of Profound Gratitude towards Parents was recently successfully presented in Taidong. Ensuring the success of this performance, several hundreds of volunteers have been mobilized. While some of them were in charge of the equipment, others were responsible for documenting the performance and its preparations.
Tzu Chi volunteers who usually prepare food for their families now face the challenge of preparing food for more than 100 people. To make sure the stage volunteers have enough physical strength, the kitchen volunteers cook with their mother's mindfulness.
Since we are not familiar with the environment, we bought the food ingredients in various places, including Hualien. We prepare spicy and stinking tofu for lunch today.
Meanwhile, these volunteers who communicate with each other with walkie-talkies are in charge of guarding this cultivation ground.
The Tzu Chi brothers are from our district. I'm very happy and joyful to be able to participate in this music event.
Then there are also 26 documenting volunteers who have been recording the event and its preparation.
We do not have a lot of people, besides some of us are elderly, therefore we just do our best. I am very grateful to our documenting volunteers in Hualien.
After 5 months of preparation and the joint effort of nearly 200 people, the musical adaptation of the Sutra of Profound Gratitude towards Parents has been a great success in Taidong.
Student ambassadors of Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology recently visited Australia's Melbourne to perform their children's drama, The Five-Colored Deer King, for students. The performance left the audience in awe as they learned lessons of how best to protect all life on Earth. We will leave you with these images at the end of our program. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.